a special assistant? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Benny's still with us.
So what do you see Charlie's role in this first year being?
You know, we'll have to do some adjustments, Charlie. Very similar to what we did with Scotty Holbrook. You know, the first year out, they're trying to figure out their life, but we'll get them to spring training. We've talked about going out and scout, which is a passion for Charlie. Around Georgia, Atlanta, maybe come to the draft, instructional league, so some player development. And probably seeing us when we're on the East Coast. But it'll be probably more what Charlie, what he wants to do this first year out.
So it's not like Vinny where he's going to be in the clubhouse
No,
every
no,
day. Okay.
no.
A lot of the guys you've brought back, you've put in the minor leagues to kind of work with those guys. But would Charlie be a little bit different because of his scouting background and interest there?
But yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it'll be, from that. Like I said, he wants to do a few things, but we talked today about the importance of developing the relationships in the minor leagues with these guys as they come through.
What have your conversations with Charlie been like?
They've been good. I'd say we've had these conversations the last couple of years about being involved when it was done playing.
Not much of an application process.
No.
Are there conversations about being involved at the major league level? And is that
We've talked about,
important?
actually asked him, do you want to be in uniform when we come to Atlanta? Type thing,
Yeah.
Things like that. He'll come to spring training for a week this year. Kind of bounce maybe between the major leagues and the minor leagues, but I think it's important to develop a relationship with the young kids down below because he has a lot to offer.
Bud said that recent days when the Dodgers do something else, he texts a friend and says, "Really? How are you supposed to compete with that?"
I mean, it is what it is. Way back when I worked for the Yankees, George did things, so it's been part, like Bud said, it's part of the game. You just got to worry about your house and doing the best you can with what you have. And, that's for some other people to talk about the competitive balance in the future of the game here.
Is it realistic to compete against that?
Sure.
From where you
Yeah,
stand?
yeah. Because I saw a great quote. It was about football. You still got to tackle and block every play, right, in every game. And you still have to throw strikes, put the ball in play. The talent is a talent, but it's one game, right? Can we come out and beat them one night? And that's the mindset you have to have every night. So, can we compete? Sure.
Can a baseball team in a 162 game stretch survive with an us against the world or a David slaying Goliath mentality?
It's happened before. Buddy said earlier today. Every year there's a surprise team type thing. We just have to be the best version of us that we can be.
Buddy said this feels a little different, what the Dodgers have been doing the last year or so. Do you feel that too?
Well, yeah, when you defer a lot of money and do some things like that, yeah, that doesn't happen every time. But I think you go back and look at history game, that things like this have happened. Maybe not to the scale.
What are your expectations for this team this year, coming off all the young players that have played the last couple of years?
Health is going to be important. I'm anxious to get Marquez Sensatella back. Hopefully we can get Chris on the field consistent. And then, the last couple of years have been really, the focus has been trying to develop a foundation. So I'm excited for the young kids, and I think we're a lot closer to, if God forbid something does happen, I think we do have some young kids that are ready to step up. That hasn't been the case the last couple of years. So the Chase Dolanders, maybe Sean Sullivan, Carson Palmquist type kids are on the mound, or they're closer to help us if we need it.
For Tovar, he was knocked on the door of the All-Star game last year. What does he have to do to take another step this year, you think?
Just continue to grow, tighten up his strike zone a little bit. I think he's growing. I mean, I said it earlier today, I'll say it again. The MLB came out with their top 10 shortstops. If he's not one of the top 10 shortstops in the game, same thing with Ben Doyle. How do you win 2 Gold Gloves? Still 20-something, be a 20-20 guy, and you're not one of the top center fielders in the game. I think both of those kids are, they still have room to grow and get better, especially at 23 years old. So, offensive maturity for him. I didn't mean to ramble on everything, but those 2 guys are good players.
Because, Bill, you've been talking about the young guys coming, and clearly some guys with Dolander, you draft Condon. Is it important this year you see results at this level in terms of wins and losses, or at least some tangible?
I'm looking for growth, right? If you get an opportunity, you're looking for growth with the guys. I just feel like we're going to see some young players, and that's kind of who we are, is we're bringing these young kids up. Some are going to have success, some are going to fail, some need to go back, which is going to create an opportunity for another young player.
Bill, a lot of teams have signed some notable free agents, big contracts and whatnot. That communicates to their fan base that they want to win now. How would you describe your offseason to fans?
I think we're in a process of just trying to get better. I'm excited about Estrada. I'll match up our infield defense with anybody in the game. With Tolia, Estrada, Tovar, McMahon, and then Doyle in the middle. I think we're real strong in the middle of the field. So for us, that's important. With our pitchers, the type of pitchers we have, they're going to put the ball in play, and we have to be able to catch it. So I'm excited about the guys we have.
Where do you see Kyle Farmer fitting in?
I think Kyle, and I've talked about this and I've said it before, I see Kyle playing all over the field, because in this place, I believe we have to rest some guys. So the idea is Kyle can give, necessarily can we use the DH spot to give Tovar a day to get off his feet, or Mac, or Estrada, or he could even be Tolia, and kind of rotate these guys, Benton Doyle, give him a day to DH. So I see Kyle, not that he's going to play center, but playing through the infield.
What do you see? Who do you see platooning with Tolia at first?
I don't see anybody playing.
He's just okay.
I mean, he played when we brought him back
Platooning
in
is the
June, he
wrong-
played every
platooning
inning
is
of
the wrong
every
word.
game.
Platooning is the wrong. I'm sorry. Who do you see giving him a day off his feet? And you've answered that.
We'll see how the roster fills out and who's on the bench at that point. It could be Chris. Chris could come in the infield and play for a day if we need to give Mike a day. But I think Mike played every inning of every game when he came up, and it was about 92 games, if I'm not mistaken, in there. So I think Mike's built to play every day.
How frustrated are you with how it's gone with Chris, or maybe more fair? How do you keep from being frustrated?
You know, it's health, right? And that's something you can't control. If it was performance and he's struggling mechanically, then I think you get frustrated. Health, you know, no different than we lose some guys to arm injuries. Those are things you just can't control. I'll play off what Buddy said. I think he still has the tools. We just got to find a way to keep him on the field to play, because I think he can still be a productive player for us.
Would you look at him as in the field, or is it just DH to start, or how do you?
You know, me and Buddy have thought, Buddy knows, I can see him running out to the outfield for
Okay.
a day or two. We're gonna need that to free up the DH spot to keep some guys rest. So hopefully you can, you know, if it's 2 days, probably maybe more on the road than home.
Right.
Where we can run in the outfield, but if we can run in the outfield a day or two, it helps, and then maybe DH is the other 3 days for us.
With
But-
the signings of the minor league deals for Nick Martini and Keston Hara, do you see those guys as battling maybe for a spot on the opening day roster?
Yeah, they could. Yeah, we brought them in to compete. You know, Keston was a, you know, former first-round pick. He can hit. You know, defensively, you know, it's not on the same level that his offense is. So, and Martini has had some success at the major league level. So we'll see what they, you know, worst case we'll have them in Albuquerque to help us out.
Well, Buddy mentioned there might be a couple more signings, something else coming for the roster. Is there a depth piece you're looking for?
It would be in the bullpen. I mean, there's still a lot of free agents out there. We talked about it yesterday. There's a lot of guys out there, and we'll see what happens here in the next, I think we're 19 days from pitcher catcher, our first workout. So if there's a good thing to add, we're open to that.
When you're talking about that, bullpen guys that are out there, are you looking at guys for the 40-man? Maybe somebody can come in?
We'll see. There's a lot of guys out there. We'll see, you know, what comes about.
With Dolander, what do you want to see from him in spring training to indicate he's right on the doorstep to help you?
I think it's going to be about command. I mean, this stuff is this stuff. It can be about strike throwing command, and you know how he handles the situations that, you know, Buddy will put him in, and that he'll face in spring training.
You mentioned wanting to see growth from the young guys specifically. How do you measure growth overall for this team? Is it wins and losses? How do you?
It'll
measure
be
that?
about their experience, and how they handle things that are thrown at them.
Did you get a feel for where Condon is in terms of his development, Bill, and where he might be able to start this year?
That hasn't been decided. We've had some internal talks. You know, thing with Charlie last year going out, he had like bruised his thumb, and kind of didn't tell us he had bruised his thumb. So he kind of played through it, which I think affected the performance. You know, you got, as somebody that got, we sent another kid out of the draft there, he made a comment, he goes, you know, my coach lied to me, he said college Division I is double A. I'm in high A struggling, so this isn't the same level. So And then they get thrown in, I use the merry-go-round scenario, right? All of a sudden you get thrown into the league and guys are throwing 100 and you haven't seen in the sliders. So there's some adjustments, but, you know, Charlie's talented. I'm looking forward for his season, and we'll see wherever we start him. Hopefully that's not where he's finishing.
With Gabriel Hughes coming back from Tommy John, pitching the Arizona Fall League, where do you think he's at? And was that encouraging from the Fall League?
Yeah, very encouraging. And he, you know, he was down in Arizona. We did a leadership camp this past week down there, and saw him throw some bullpens. And he looks good. He looks healthy. He's just got to get him back on the mound, going every 5 days, 5 or 6 days. So just get him to work and try to make up for some lost time here.
Still the expectation he could.
Oh yeah, the stuff's still the stuff. Yeah, he's bounced back from the surgery. It's just a matter now of just getting the workload built back up.
Anything else for Bill? All right, thank you, Bill.
Thanks.
Thank you, Billy.